This class will be available to come back to on YouTube, which will be especially nice to just kind of revisit. I forgot to tell the new joiners, I do have a little pillow. If you want to grab a pillow or a couch cushion or a blanket, just for our very first pose. So without further ado, let's begin today. So let's start in a child's pose here. So coming down to our mat, bringing our knees out as wide as we would like and having our toes kind of touch underneath us. Maybe grabbing your pillow, your blanket, or your couch cushion. We're just going to slowly start to walk the hands forward and sink down, bringing the forehead down onto your prop or the mat, walking the fingertips away from the body. Yeah. And just finding a nice long spine here. So taking these first few moments in this practice, in this child's pose here, and starting just to settle in. Can everyone hear me okay? Yeah, okay, cool. Thanks for the thumbs up. All right, so taking these first few breaths here just to settle into our practice. So as we begin to settle in our child's pose, knees out as wide as you like, toes touching, walking the hands forward, we're just gonna start to notice our breath. We're just gonna start to notice our breath, what it's like in and out through the nose. So starting in this nice restorative pose, and knowing that yoga just isn't about movement for the body. It just isn't movement for the mind, but rather it's a practice to help us gain self-realization. So on your inhale here, begin to notice as the ribs expand and the belly inflates. And on your exhale, surrender a little deeper into the mat. And maybe as we lay here, we start to notice that there's a little tightness in the hips and the glutes. Maybe there's a little tightness in the knees or the ankles. If it feels good to bring that prop underneath you, then do so. And really start to rest the forehead on the mat here. Nice. We'll stay here for a few more breaths. So trying to build off last week, this is our second of our 4-part series. We will be talking about this idea that yoga isn't just a practice for movement, but rather a practice to help us gain self-realization. So with that being said, this yoga philosophy comes from 250 BC from the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali. And this idea that there's 8 limbs of yoga was first introduced. And essentially what this ancient practice describes is an outline how to live a meaningful life, how to purify our physical body and mental body, and gain mastery over the body's senses, and most importantly, become free from illusions. So as you start to ease a little deeper into this child's pose, maybe your forehead's all the way down on the mat. Maybe you start rocking it side to massage that fascia tissue right underneath the forehead. And as you lay here, maybe this is where we start to examine what's going on in the mind. To dive into this idea of self-awareness. Beautiful, nice. We'll take 3 more big breaths here, in through the nose. Pause at the top of it. Exhale out through the mouth. Get a little heavier. Inhale, find the fingertips stretching further away from the body. And exhale, sink a little deeper into the mat. Beautiful, one more time, inhale. And exhale here. All right, beautiful. We're gonna slowly come up onto our hands and our knees. Moving our prop, our blanket, our bolster to the side here. And starting to find our shoulders stacked over the wrists, our hips over our knees here. The hands and the knees are about shoulder width apart, and your gaze is down right between the hands. We're gonna start to move through a couple of cat-cows here. So your toes can be tucked under if you would like, or the tops of the feet can be on the earth. Spreading out through all the fingertips here so that if I were to look at them, I could see space in between each web of the finger. Nice. And starting to find the circle of the palm planted into the earth. We'll start to drop the belly here as we start to turn the tailbone up towards the ceiling. Beginning to take our gaze towards the front of the room, starting to open up through the throat. Big breath in here. Then on your exhale, starting with the tailbone, we're going to start to turn it under, inch by inch, rounding through the spine as we push through the arms, taking the gaze between the knees. And then we'll just move with this breath here. Inhale, dropping the belly, taking the gaze up. Exhale, curling everything under. Finding the spinal flexion and extension here. Moving it in direction, sometimes we forget to move it. So finding a few more rounds here, pulling the heart through, then curling the spine, tucking the chin. Nice. And starting to notice here where the mind begins to go as we begin to move through in our body. Nice. Let's find 2 more rounds here. Taking it as slow or as quick as you would like. Nice. Beautiful. And then we're going to bring our knees back out wide here and bring our toes to touch at the back of the mat. From here, we're going to sink back into a child's pose. Noticing maybe how our child's pose is a little bit different after doing some cat and cows. Finding length in the spine here, creating this space. Beautiful. From here, we're going to walk the fingertips over to the right corner of the mat. Placing the left hand on top of the right here, we're going to drop our forehead down onto our pillow or the mat here. And we're going to really sink down in through the left hip, finding this across body stretch, reaching the hands across, finding length in the side body. Nice. Beautiful. Let's come into a little calming breath here. We'll take 2 inhales through the nose and a long exhale out. A few more times, 2 inhales in and a long exhale out. Again, inhale. Exhale, sink a little bit deeper here. Start to create space in the side body. Nice. 1 more big breath in. And then walk the hands back through center. This time planting the hands down at the top of the mat. We're going to slowly come up through a tabletop and then slowly let the hips start to drop as we pull our chest forward. Bending the elbows to the back of the room here, coming into a little kind of baby cobra or upward facing dog. Pulling the back of the skull towards the back of the room. Big breath in. And exhale, we're going to push into the hands and move back into our child's pose. Ooh. Nice. Walking the hands over to the left side. Maybe they stay on the left corner of the mat. Maybe they come off the left side of the mat. And bringing that right hand on top of the left if that's available. Dropping the head down towards the mat here and really sinking down into that right hip. Begin to find this opening on the right side body. Beautiful. Nice. Yeah, just like that. And begin to cultivate consciousness here by bringing awareness to your breath. Taking your mind, taking you out of your mind and into your body again and again. Breath in, breath out. A few more times. Breath in, breath out. An ancient book of yoga, the Bhagavad Gita, says that yoga is the journey of the self, through the self, to the self. So as we lay here for 2 more breaths in this child's pose, begin to start that conversation with the body. How does this feel in my body? Big breath in, big breath out. Walk the hands back to center. Take 1 big breath in. And on your exhale, we're going to come back up to this tabletop pose. From here, we're going to extend the right leg out a little bit further behind the front knee. So moving it about 1 inch further behind where it was starting. And we'll bring the left knee to meet it. We're going to slowly lower down the belly, the chest, and the chin. Bringing the arms out in front of us here so they are parallel to one another. Spreading out through the fingers and try to bring the elbows right up close next to the body, kind of like the waist or the chest area, so that the shoulders are stacked over the elbows. Taking the gaze between the hands here, we'll lift the right leg up and scooch the toes a little further away from the body. And then we'll do that to the left, picking them up, scooching them a little bit further behind the body. Start to feel the pelvis and the tops of the feet on the earth as we bring our breath into the lower back. Big breath in, big breath out. Nice, we'll do that 2 more times. Breathing in, feeling the ribs expand. Breathing out, feeling them deflate. 1 more time, inhale. And exhale, we're gonna bring the right hand down to the middle of the mat, the left hand down on top of it. We're gonna swing the elbows out to the right and left side of the mat and create a little pillow with the head, gently placing our forehead down onto the mat. Taking this little neutralizing position here as we send our breath into our lower back. Noticing here as we progress in our class, and knowing as well that whatever I say is just a simple suggestion. You can take it, you can leave it. This is your practice here. So if something doesn't feel right, if it brings on the sensation of pain or shooting or sharp, please back off. If it's a little uncomfortable, maybe explore that line here. If you feel like just laying in a child's pose or laying on the mat, then do so. We'll find 2 more big breaths here. Inhale, feel the ribs expand, the belly expand into the mat. Exhale, sigh it out. 1 more time, inhale. And exhale. We're gonna bring the hands off the right side of the mat and the left side of the mat. Tenting up onto the fingertips as if we had little cookies underneath our hands. On our next inhale, we're gonna pull the back of our skull up towards the ceiling here as we lift our chin and the chest off the mat. We're gonna come into some shoulder dips here. First, dropping the right shoulder down, taking a peek over that left elbow. Inhale, back up to center. Drop the left shoulder down, peek over that right elbow. Back up to center, moving with your breath as slow or as quick as you would like, dropping 1 shoulder down towards center, then up, center, then up. Being nice and slow if that feels good, or going a little bit quicker if that feels good. Starting this conversation with the body to see what you need. Let's find 1 more time each side. Nice, last side. And then slowly bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Let the forehead kiss down onto the mat. Big breath in here. And exhale, side out through the mouth. 1 more time, big breath in. And exhale, side out through the mouth. Beautiful. All right, we're gonna push down into our hands and come back up onto our tabletop, onto our hands and our knees here. So setting our shoulders up over our wrists, sending our hips over our knees. We'll take a little side to side circles here. So just in your mind's eye, envision like a oblong circle. We're just gonna start to circle the hips to one side. Yeah, just like that. I call these sassy little hip circles, just finding a little bit of movement here and then switch directions, circle them to the other side. Those were my hips cracking. Maybe you noticed some popping and cracking too. That's okay. That's just the body saying, hey, what's up? I'm here. We'll find one more big breath, just like this. Beautiful. We're gonna tuck the toes under here. We're gonna bring our knees towards one another, and we're gonna gently sit back, bringing our bum onto our heels. Checking in with all 10 toes, like kind of making sure that they're curled under here. Now this is a lot of sensation here. So if you're feeling more than a 5 or 6 on the scale of pain, then please back off. You can always sit up here and take a breath. Otherwise, let's reach our hands out in front of us so they're in length with our shoulders. We're just gonna really extend through the fingertips, creating space between the hands, and then close them into fists. Let's do that again. Expanding the fingertips, close them into fists. And then we're just gonna pick up the pace here, going quicker and quicker. Opening and closing the hands and going as quick as you possibly can for 3, for 2, for 1. Bring the hands down onto the ground. Untuck the toes here. Gently pat them on the mat beneath you. Beautiful. All right, we're gonna bring the hands, one handprint in front of the shoulders. Pushing down into the thumb and the first finger here. Really, really pushing down into the L of that hand. We're gonna tuck the toes under, lift the hips up and back, and find our first downward facing dog. So bending the knees as much as you would like here. The heels do not have to be touching the ground by any means. However, I do want you to notice how much space you're taking up on the mat. So if you're like in this tiny little fold, please take a step back. Take up as much space on your mat here to kind of create this like inverted V shape. Nice. Pushing through the hands here. We're gonna start to drop our head, taking our gaze between our legs, between our knees to the wall behind us. Slowly bending the right knee, and then switching, bending the left knee, and then switching, walking out the dog here, starting to find our downward facing dog, starting to breathe into our lower back as we really push through the hands here and find this engagement in the core and the shoulders. Let's find one more big breath here. Then exhale, bring the hands and the knees back down onto the earth here, coming back into your tabletop. Find a nice neutral spine, looking down between the hands here. Start to find this core engagement here by pulling the belly button in towards the spine. Big breath in, and exhale it out. We're gonna bring the hands one handprint in front of where they were again. So they're further away from the knees. We're gonna start to bring the knees out a little bit behind where they were. So we're taking up a lot of space on the mat here. Lifting the feet up towards the ceiling here. We're gonna lower the hips down, lower the belly down, lower the chin and the chest. Bringing the arms out to goal post arms here. So they're cactused out to the right and left side. Setting the right cheek onto the earth here. We're gonna start to bend the left foot towards the bum. Nice. All right, this might be where you're at here. If you're really tight in the hips, if you're tight in the middle of the back, if you're tight in the glutes. If you would like to add on here, you can really start to push the right hand into the earth as you rest your right cheek down. Starting to push into the left hand here. We're gonna lift that left knee up and slowly, slowly, slowly coming onto the right side body. Maybe the left toes touch the earth behind you. Maybe they're just hovering. Maybe this right arm stays cactus. Maybe you start to walk the fingertips out to T if you're finding you're tight. Getting to your point here of stretching in the shoulder. Maybe dropping the right cheek down towards the earth. Big breath in here. Big breath out. Beautiful. 2 more times as we take this floor scorpion pose. Big breath in. Big breath out. One more time. Inhale. Exhale, slowly come back onto the stomach. Bringing both hands underneath the shoulders and just windshield wiping the feet side to side. Noticing the difference in the body here. Maybe the right side feels a little bit more open. Maybe you've created a little bit more space. Nice. We'll extend the legs back out behind us. Bringing that left arm out to a cactus arm, a goalpost arm. We'll bring the right hand underneath the shoulders. We rest the left cheek. From here, drawing the right heel towards the bum and slowly lifting that right knee up here as that foot comes behind us. Maybe it hovers, maybe it touches, and rolling up onto the left side body here. Keeping that left shoulder and that left cheek on the earth. Nice. So I am somebody that practices yoga every day, so this might not be what you look like. This might be closer to what you look like. This might be closer to what you look like. So finding the variation here in your body, knowing you can always bring the pillow underneath your foot or underneath your knee here. Finding a variation that works for you, but doing so without judgment. Not judging yourself if maybe you don't look how you think you want to look. Maybe not judging yourself, choosing to not judge yourself if you can't do something you were hoping to do. Starting this practice here with non-judgment as we become more aware of our thoughts. Big breath in, big breath out. One more time, big breath in, big breath out. Slowly come back onto the stomach. We'll reach the arms overhead and point the toes out behind us. Take a full body stretch here. Reach, reach, reach through the fingertips and the toes. You can stay here. You can lift the arms and the legs up off the earth, whatever you'd like for 3, for 2, for 1. Bring the hands back underneath the shoulders and we'll come back up into our tabletop. Nice, beautiful. So finding a couple cat and cows here if that feels good for your body. Finding the little hip circles if that feels good. But wherever you're at, pulling your consciousness back into your breath. Taking you out of your mind and back into your body. Big breath in and big breath out. Nice, beautiful. All right, we're gonna come into a little low lunge here. So on our next inhale, we're gonna pull our right knee towards our nose as we curl our head towards our knee. Drawing the shin up towards the belly button here and holding for 3, 2, 1. We're gonna help ourselves by grabbing our ankle and pulling it forward. Coming up onto our fingertips here and finding this front knee stacked over the front ankle. Nice. So this back knee, if it's too close to the body here, maybe like it's just directly underneath the hip here, come up onto the toes and scooch that back knee a little bit further back. So you're kind of making this diagonal shape with your back leg. Planting down into that front big toe, energetically begin to pull that right knee towards the front of the room. Big breath in here, big breath out. Notice the stacking of the joints over the ankle. Start to notice your right hip crease as you pull it to the back of the room so it's in line with the left. Maybe your gaze stays down at that right big toe. Maybe it starts to travel to the wall in front of you. Nice, starting to open up through the heart, maybe coming even more onto the fingertips. Big breath in. Big breath out. We'll bring our hands back onto the ground here. And we'll slowly bring our knees back to one another, coming into a tabletop pose. Moving the hips around, again, noticing the sensations in the body. Maybe one side feels a little bit different. And then finding the shoulders stacked over those hands. Hips over the knees. Pull that belly button in so you have a nice long spine. On your next inhale, we'll take it to the left side, pulling the left knee in towards the head, and then curling the head down towards the knee. Pull that shin up towards the body here, and hold. Pushing into both hands equally, keeping the shoulders stacked, for one more breath. Nice. Then grabbing that left foot, helping it come to the front of the mat here. Reframing the hands around this front foot. Finding that front knee stacked over the front ankle as we have all four corners of the toes of the foot planted into the mat. Nice. Now checking out this back hip. Maybe it kind of looks like mine where it's directly, the knee is directly underneath the hip. Let's come up onto our toes here, straighten out through the leg, and kind of like move our foot ever so slightly towards the back of the room, and then set the knee down. This is so we're starting to create space in our hips and our psoas muscle, this big muscle that interweaves through our lower back and our hip and our joint. So bringing your awareness now to your left hip crease, start to tug it energetically behind you so it comes in line with the left, with the right. Nice. Let's find one more big breath here. And then let's start to take our gaze towards the front of the room, maybe tenting up on the fingertips. Starting to open up through the chest here, drawing that front knee forward. Big breath in, big breath out. I read a quote today and it said that yoga is not for the flexible, yoga is for the willing. So be willing here to create a space, to find the self-inquiry, to see what's in the body. Let's find one more big breath. And slowly come back to your tabletop pose, taking a couple in cat and cows as needed, arching the spine, curling it under. And then bringing the hands, one hand print in front of where they were. We'll tuck the toes under, big breath in. Then exhale, find your downward facing dog, pushing through the hands. Starting to ever so slightly bring the shoulders onto the back body as we drop the head. Taking the gaze between the legs here. You can find stillness in the legs, or if it serves you, keep pedaling the legs out, bending one knee at a time, dropping the heels down towards the earth. Starting to find like this inverted shape with your body. So you kind of look like you're in an inverted V. Pretend I came around and I had like a little rope on your hip points and I could ever so slightly tug it up. Let that be the highest part of your body. Big breath in, big breath out. All right, we're gonna find a little bit of movement here. So planting down into our hands and our left foot, we're gonna lift the right heel up towards the ceiling. Nice. Keeping the toes flexed down here. And then we're just gonna shake that leg. We're just gonna shake it, shake it, shake it. Shake it like a Polaroid picture. Shake it for one more big breath. And then set that foot down. Let's take it to the second side. Finding the hands in the earth. Finding the right big toe pushed into the earth. And we'll start to draw that left heel up towards the ceiling. Not worried about how high you lift it up, but just rather finding the hip space and square. Begin to shake that leg, shake it out. Just shake it out, shake, shake, shake. Don't worry about what you look like. Just find sensation in the body for 3, 2, 1. Set that foot down. Beautiful. All right, let's shake the head yes a few times. Shake the head no a few times. And on our next inhale, we're going to come up onto our tiptoes if we're not there already. We're going to start to tiptoe to the front of the mat, taking as many steps as you would like here. Maybe that looks like 2, maybe it looks like 10. And then coming into a forward fold at the top of your mat. As we get into this forward fold, finding all 4 corners of the feet planted into the earth, I want you to really start to bend through the knees. Drawing the thighs up towards the knees. Drawing the thighs up towards the ribs and the ribs down towards the knees. Maybe your hand comes onto your prop here, your couch cushion, your pillow. You have a block or a pile of books. And really let the head begin to dangle here. Finding all 4 corners of the feet planted into the earth. Nice. And just letting the head drop. Practicing this awareness of our thoughts and our thought processes. Seeing where our thoughts go when we are trying to find stillness in the body. No judgment here, but just practicing, noticing. I love yoga because it offers the opportunity in every moment to observe the mind. Where is the mind going? Is it going to your to-do list? To your loved ones? Can you gently bring it back here into your body? Noticing the sensations of your feet on your yoga mat or the earth. Noticing the sensations of your clothing on your skin. Noticing what you can hear around you. Maybe your family or your animals, nature, the train station. Maybe notice if you can smell anything, the candle, your tea, your deodorant. We'll find one more big breath here. And then really rooting down through all four corners of the feet. We're gonna slowly roll up, inch by inch, nice and slow, keeping the chin tucked to the very last second. And when the gaze goes up out in front of you, we'll bring the arms all the way up, finding an extended mountain pose, reaching the arms up, maybe taking the gaze up. And then exhale the hands to heart center. From here, we're gonna find a chair pose. So we're gonna pretend that we're sitting in a tiny little chair. We're gonna start to bend through the knees, keeping a majority of the weight in the heels here. Maybe you even lift all 10 toes. We're gonna slowly start to root that tailbone down towards the ground. Pushing the hands into center here. Pushing the legs energetically into center here. You can stay here. If it serves you, you can lift your hands up. Finding what works here for you. Can you sink a little lower? Just yes or no, self-inquiry. Can you sink a little lower? Yes or no. We'll find one more big breath here. And exhale out through the mouth. Stand all the way up, reach up, look up. And on your exhale, we'll fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift, drawing the crown of the head forward, finding this little shelf with your spine here. And the exhale, forward fold. Beautiful. Coming to the top of the mat if you're not there already. Bringing the hands down onto the ground as we bring a bend into the knees. From here, we're gonna step the left foot all the way to the back of the mat, keeping the toes under the heel here, and setting that left knee down on the ground. Yeah, we were here before. Nice. From here, we're gonna walk our hands up onto our thigh, starting to stack our shoulders over our hips here, letting our tailbone lengthen down. Now again, if that back knee is underneath the hips, just come up onto the toes and scoosh out like a little bit further behind you to find this big stretch. You can keep your hands on your thighs. You can keep your hands at heart center. Or you can lift the arms all the way up, creating a little space between the shoulders and the ears, softening here. Taking the gaze up towards the ceiling as we really plant down into that front big toe. Big breath in. And big breath out. Bring the hands down to frame the front foot. Tuck the toes under here as we pop that back knee up. From here, we're just gonna take as many tries as we need to step the back foot to meet the front. When you get there on your next inhale, lift up halfway, drawing the crown of the head forward, reaching the tailbone towards the back of the room. Big breath in, big breath out, forward fold. Nice. Planting down through the feet. On our next inhale, we'll sweep the arms all the way up. Extended mountain. Reach the fingertips up, take the gaze up. And on your exhale, forward fold. Bringing the hands down onto the ground, bring a big bend into the knees. We're gonna take that to the second side. Picking up the right foot, and stepping it all the way to the back of the mat. Keeping that back heel over the toes will set that back knee down. Slowly walking the hands up onto that thigh here. Trying to think square hips, square shoulders. And you can stay here as you really push down into that left big toe. You can lift the arms up if that serves you. You can take the gaze up. Finding the sensation in your body somewhere. Maybe finding even a little bit of an edge. This edge between comfort and discomfort. This edge between ease and working. This comfort between, this edge between doing and not doing. Big breath in here. And we'll bring the hands down, planting them onto the ground. Popping that back knee up here. And we'll step that back knee all the way to the front of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Plant down and through the feet. On your next inhale, we'll come into a chair pose, sinking the hips down as we reach the arms up. Big breath in. Exhale, fold. Beautiful. Let's lift up halfway one more time, drawing the crown of the head forward, the tailbone back. And exhale, plant the hands. We're going to bend through the knees. We're going to step the left toes all the way to the back of the mat. This time, keeping that left knee lifted up off the earth. Nice. We're going to come into a crescent lunge here. So if your balance feels a little wobbly, take your feet out wider from right to left. If it serves you, you can always bring your back knee down onto the mat. Otherwise, we're going to start to reach the arms up here as we lengthen the tailbone down to the ground. Finding a little bend in that back knee as we try to draw the back heel over the back toes. Lengthening through the side body as we reach up. One more big breath here. Exhale the hands down. We'll step the back foot to meet the front, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, bend the knees. Step the right foot all the way to the back of the mat. Coming into this crescent lunge. Staying here, setting down that back knee, or when you're ready, reaching the arms up. Starting to grow long here as we lengthen the tailbone down. Starting to pull that back heel over the toes, maybe the gaze goes up. Drawing that front knee towards the front of the room, big breath in. And big breath out, bring the hands down to frame the front foot. One more time, we'll step that back foot to meet the front, forward fold. Beautiful, keeping the chin nice and tucked here, we'll roll all the way up to our mountain pose. I'm just gonna reorient myself on the mat. So coming to the top of your mat, relaxing the shoulders away from the ears, bringing the hands out alongside you, palms face the front of the room. Finding the feet underneath the hips here and finding a little bend in the knees. Nice. All right, so we're just gonna take a little breath here. Now, if you have any heart conditions or if you're pregnant, then maybe back off of this breath and just don't do the movement with it, just listen to me. If you start to get dizzy, please back off the breath here. If you get dizzy, then just gently tuck your chin and close your eyes. So this is called breath of joy. It is a 3-part breath. And what it's gonna look like is we're gonna take 3 inhales and then 1 long exhale. So when we do our 3 inhales, we have a little bit of movement to go with it. So our first inhale, we're gonna bring the hands out in front of us. And then our second inhale, we're gonna bring the arms out to the side. And the third inhale, we're gonna reach the arms all the way up. And on our exhale, we're gonna fold forward. So our breath looks something like this. I'll demonstrate it once. All right, so let's take an inhale together and an exhale out. again, if you just want to move with if you just want to take this breath and not do the movement, then please feel free. But otherwise, let's begin. Inhale, 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 fold. Inhale, 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 fold. Inhale, 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 fold. Beautiful, 3 more times. Last time. Hold, and then slowly roll all the way up, keeping the chin tucked. Bring the hands maybe onto the hips here, keeping the chin tucked for a second. Maybe feeling a little bit of tingliness in the body as we've just put lots of oxygen into it. I'm really struggling with my speech today and I don't know why. All right, so let's come into one little baby balance pose. Not that there's anything baby about it. This is just one of my favorite little poses to do to get balance into the body. All right, so finding our feet about hip width distance apart. Finding a little bend in the knees here. We're gonna interlace the hands. So the fingers are all interlaced. Then we're gonna flip the hands so that the palms are facing the front of the room. From here, we're gonna start to draw the hands up towards the ceiling here. So you kind of look like this. Yeah, nice. All right, finding somewhere in front of you to bring your gaze to settle on. So finding like a picture, a speck on the wall, a fleck of paint, maybe something on the ground, just finding something to stare at. We're gonna start to come up onto our toes, lifting the heels up off the earth, keeping a little bend in the knees here as we draw the shins towards the front of the room. Yeah, you're balancing, that's perfect, nice. If you need to opt out here, bring the heels back down, but then go back up, try again. Pushing the palms up towards the ceiling here, coming up onto the toes, finding a bend in the knees here as we draw the shins forward. Big breath in, slowly let the heels drop, release the arms alongside of you. Come back to the top of your mat here. We're gonna find one last chair pose. Bringing the hands to heart center, start to sit down into a little chair. Nice. So I'm gonna give you the place we're going. We're gonna eventually come down onto your mat. So there's a couple ways to get there. You can come all the way down, just sit down if you would like. You can start to sink lower and lower. You can come up onto your toes here and sink, 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 coming all the way down onto your mat. Nice. Beautiful. All right. So coming down onto your mat here, we're gonna come into a little cross leg pose here. So I'm gonna reorient myself once again. So grabbing our pillow or a couch cushion, a jacket if you're at the train station, or a backpack, something just to grab onto. Finding the right leg crossed in front of the left here. Bringing the hands alongside the hips, lifting the sit bones up, and then gently setting them down. Nice. From here, we're just gonna bring our pillow or prop or literally anything to bring the ground up towards you. We're gonna reach the hands up. From here, we're gonna start to bring the heart down towards the ground. And when you get to your spot where your hips are like you can't go anymore, bring the hands down onto your prop here and gently tuck the chin. You can bring your prop underneath your stomach here and gently hang on to it, or reach the arms back out. We're just finding a little forward fold here. Nothing fancy, just folding. Checking in again with our thoughts and seeing where our thoughts are going. Yeah, yoga being the journey of the self, through the self, to the self. So we can create some more self-awareness. In yoga philosophy, this idea is called spadhyaya. It's this idea of self-study, self-awareness, self-knowledge, self-reflection. self-examination. So starting to become an observer in your mind instead of a judger. Just noticing where your thoughts are going. You don't have to label them. You don't have to follow them down this little windy path. Just notice. Beautiful. We'll find 2 more big breaths here. Dropping the head if you have not already. And on your next exhale, finding your sit bones rooted into the earth, will slowly come all the way back up. Nice, beautiful. All right, from here, we're gonna extend the right foot out towards the right side of the room, the right corner of the mat. Then we're gonna start to turn our belly button towards the right toes. Bringing the hands to frame that front leg here. We're gonna start to push this left hip, so the opposite hip, down into the mat as we start to walk the hands forward and fold over this leg. Maybe again, grabbing your pillow or couch cushion or blanket, bringing it underneath you. Wherever you're at, generously flexing the toes up towards the ceiling. Maybe your hands stay alongside the foot. Maybe it feels good to reach for the knee, the ankle, the pant legs, the bottom of the foot. Each inhale here, feel the body stretch. And each exhale, surrender a little bit deeper into this asana, this posture. Nice. Knowing that we get into yoga, into these shapes here, not to like create this pretty aesthetic, not to create this pretty Instagram worthy shape, but rather we're making this shape so that we can get out of our mind and into our body. So start to notice what's happening. Can you feel the sensation in the back of the leg, in the spine, in the neck? Nice. We'll find 2 more big breaths here. And then we'll slowly sit up on our last exhale. Keeping this right leg extended out here. We're gonna cross the left leg over it. So now our body's kind of diagonal out to the right corner of the mat. Inhale, reach the arms up here, create some length. And exhale, fold over the crossed legs, breathing into the hamstrings, breathing into the back. This might be what you look like today, just tucking the chin. You might be able to reach for the knees, the ankles, the pant legs. You may be able to reach around for the bottoms of the feet. So just being here wherever you're at, and practice examining your awareness. Yeah, beautiful. We'll find a few more breaths here. Tucking the chin, dropping the head. Noticing if there's any gripping here that you can breathe into. Nice. 1 more big breath here. And then sit all the way back up. All right, we're going to tuck this left foot back into center here, creating like a half butterfly pose. Then we're going to bring the right sole of the foot right next to the left here. So we have the right knee up towards the ceiling and the left knee out towards the side. Lengthening both sit bones down towards the earth. We'll inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, we're going to rain the fingertips down in front of us, reaching them away from the body here as we drop the chin into the chest. Starting to open up really in the hips and the lower back. Starting to open up even in the side body here. Nice. Yeah, just like that. Let's find a few more breaths here. Maybe coming back to that calming breath. 2 breaths in, 1 long breath out. 2 breaths in, long breath out. 1 more time, 2 breaths in, long breath out. Slowly sit all the way back up. This time we're going to bring the left foot in front of the right, coming into this nice easy seat. It might feel a little awkward in the body. as our body might be more used to one side. Bringing the hands alongside the hips, we'll lift our sit bones up off the earth and gently set them down. Grabbing our prop, whatever that may be, or maybe not, reach the arms all the way up. Then exhale, begin to rain them forward here as we tuck the chin in towards the chest. Letting the head drop, finding space here in the lower back. And again, cultivating our consciousness by bringing awareness out of our mind and into the body. Breath in, breath out. Nice. Maybe it feels good to find stillness here. Maybe rocking side to side feels great. Just find what works for you. Breathing into any gripping or tightening sensations and creating that space. Nice. We'll find 2 more big breaths here. We'll slowly sit all the way back up. We're going to extend the left leg out towards the left corner of the mat. Turning the belly button over towards those left toes as we flex them to our face. We'll bring the hands to frame that left leg. And then reaching down into this right hip, we're going to start to walk over to the left. Dropping the chin here, dropping the head. Nice. Coming into any variation here that may serve you. Maybe bringing your prop into play. Maybe reaching for your ankle or your pant legs. Maybe the bottom of your foot. Starting to find this opening wherever it may be. Nice. Big breath in. Big breath out. We'll find 3 more breaths here. And then slowly sit all the way back up. Nice. We're going to swing this right ankle over to the left ankle here. So coming to the left corner of the mat. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, rain the fingertips down. Fold over these crossed legs. Noticing here, wherever you may feel it. Right now I feel it in my hamstrings. I feel it in the back of my neck here along my spine. So just noticing here, being willing to do this practice of becoming more aware of our thoughts, seeing where our mind goes when we start to find this stillness in the body. Big breath in, big breath out. One more time. We'll slowly sit all the way back up. Bringing the right, a bend into the right knee here, coming into like this half butterfly pose. We're gonna start to bring the left sole of the foot on the earth here. So the left knee is pointing up and the right knee is out towards the right side. Finding both sit bones rooted down here. We'll walk the fingertips forward and come into this fold. Breathing into the inner left hip. Nice. Dropping the head here. Taking these next moments here just to observe the mind. Two more big breaths. And then slowly sitting all the way back up. Nice, we're gonna bring the soles of the feet down on the earth in front of us. Bringing the hands behind us somewhere in space so the fingertips are pointed towards the body. We're just gonna windshield the knees over to the right and the left a few times, working out any tension in the hips, kind of giving ourselves a little butt massage here. Then sitting all the way back up here, we're gonna reach the arms out towards the front of the room. Finding all four corners of the feet planted onto the earth here, we're going to start to create a diagonal line with our body here. Drawing our head back behind us and starting to turn on that core. Beautiful. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you float the right leg up. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you float the left leg up. Big breath in. That can look like this. That can look like this. Big breath out. We'll take one more big breath in. And then bring the soles of the feet back onto the earth if you have them lifted. We're just going to lower 1 inch by inch all the way down to the ground. Slow, 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 slow. When you come onto the ground here, pull the knees into the chest. Give them a nice tight squeeze. Rocking side by side on the lower back here. Beautiful. On your next inhale, pull the forehead up towards the knees, lift the head and the shoulder up off the earth. Big breath in, big breath out. One more time, big breath in, and big breath out. Slowly come all the way down onto your mat. We're gonna set up for our final pose here, our Savasana. So if you need to take anything else along the way, then please do. Otherwise, coming down all the way onto your mat. Finding length in the spine here. The legs can be pointed up towards the ceiling. You can bring the legs out in front of you. You can bring the soles of the feet together if you would like. You can bring the arms alongside the hips. You can bring the arms out to cactus or a T. You can bring your hands to your heart and your belly. So wherever you choose to be here for our final resting pose, give yourself a second to move around and get 10% more comfortable. And then when you're ready, close your eyes or soften your gaze. As we begin to find stillness and put into practice what we've been talking about all class. And that is awareness of our thoughts. So as you begin to lay here, let's do a thing called labeling our thoughts. We're not going to label them like an extravagant filing system. But instead, we're just going to label them as what they are. So right now, in my head, I'm thinking about my dog, so I'm going to say dog. Then I'm getting angry about traffic I had to hit earlier, so I'm going to say traffic. So we're just going to start to label our thoughts by not giving it too much thought, just noticing what those thoughts are, starting to get meta, thinking about thinking. So just slowly start to label those thoughts in your mind, letting the body be nice and heavy. And maybe as stillness begins to take over here, you just notice your breath in and your breath out. We'll lay here for about 2 more minutes. And when class is done here, you can lay here as long as you would like. Or you can come onto your side and take a feel pose. I will be quiet now for the next 2 minutes. We'll gently begin to deepen our breath. Pulling our breath down into our ribs, letting the belly expand. Bringing the hands alongside of you and starting to open and close them into fists as we point and flex the toes. When you're ready, we're just gonna move onto our right or our left side, coming into one last posture here, a child's pose or a fetal pose. Bringing the arm underneath the head for support and bringing the top hand down on the ground. Taking this last moment of our practice here to acknowledge the fact that you showed up today, that you created space in your body and in your mind, and that you practice mindfulness. You practice Vadihaha, the self-inquiry and self-study. Pushing down into that top hand, we'll gently make our way up to a nice, easy seat. Awesome, everybody. Thank you so much for showing up today. We have 2 more classes. If you can't make it, it will be on YouTube so that you can follow along. Please revisit this practice as much as you would like to see how your body changes. Make sure you all drink lots of water today. And thank you so much from the Braden District Library and from me, Coco. Have a great day, everybody.